Hello everyone, welcome to our channel Biodiversity and Conservation, and I'm Swalakshmi Raut from Ambika Prasad Research Foundation, Odisha, India, and we are continuing our series on birds of India, and this is the fifth part. Today we are going to discuss on ibises of India. Have you ever seen an ibis? I think you have, because in India there are three species of ibises. Uh, And when you see a ibis, you generally found them wading in shallow lagoons, lakes, marshes, and some irrigated fields. And they are normally found in warm regions. And if you have seen an ibis, then you will know that they're slender and they have down curved bills as they feed on small fishes and soft mollusks in water. So let's go in detail. Now, why ibis are called ibis? Ibis derives from the Latin and ancient Greek word for this group of birds, and it refers to a large wading bird with long down-curved bill, long neck, and long legs. When you have seen an ibis flying, you can see that they fly with their neck and legs extended and alternately flapping their wings and sailing in the air. So from that, we can identify an ibis because of their downward curved bill. Now, some interesting facts about ibis. They have, as we know, curved, slender bills, and which helps them to find out food in the mud or grass or shallow water. And they are generally gregarious birds. They travel a long distance and normally breed in flocks. And when you have seen a ibis migrating or flying in air, you can see that they fly in a V formation because this formation decreases the air resistance for these birds, and normally the adult male bird is at the front, act as the leader of the pack, and when it tires or after breeding, when they return, they normally take the back seat. And ibises are actually very ancient species according to the fossil records because it dates back to 60 million years ago, and they are quiet birds and very silent, and only you can hear them grunting or croaking in the breeding grounds during the breeding season. Now, this is the diversity of ibis in India. There are three species, as I said: black-headed ibis, red-naped ibis, glossy ibis. Now we are going to study this one by one. First one is black-headed ibis. They are scientifically called Thresciornis melanocephalus, and they belong to family Thresciornithidae, and they are also called Oriental white ibis, Indian white ibis, or black-necked ibis. They are monotypic species, means they have only one type of species for this bird. And the author who described this bird is Latham in 1790. As you can see, this bird is nearly threatened because of habitat destruction, all the anthropogenic activities that are conducted by humans. And they are normally distributed in Indian subcontinent and Southeast Asia. As we see this ibis, you can notice that it has a very black head and neck. This is the identifying feature of this bird, along with the downward black um, down curled bill. So this contrast between black and head and neck with white body, white plumage. This bird can be easily identified, and the tails of the adults have light gray ornamental feathers in this portion. Uh, but in the breeding time, it turns jet black in color, and uh, during the breeding season, some bare patches can be seen um, under the wing, which is red in color, blood red in color. And in some ibises, during breeding time, the uh, they also have some bluish tinge of very rarely have seen pink or bright red patch behind the neck. And both male and female are identical, but juveniles can be distinguished from adults uh, by the grayish feathers on the neck and speckled brown gray feathers on the wings and back. And if we see their habitat, it's a very versatile bird. Uh, they can be found in a variety of natural and man-made habitats like freshwater and saltwater marshes, lakes and ponds, rice fields, reservoirs, some grazing lots, and even near some garbage dumping sites also. They normally feed on fish, frogs, and invertebrates. So they are carnivores, and their breeding season is rainy season, as the nesting starts from June to August in North India and from November to February in South India. And they normally nest near wetlands along with herons in their colonies, and they build a platform of nest with sticks um, and grasses, and they lay about 2 to 4 bluish or greenish white eggs, which has some yellowish brown spots on them. And both the parents show their parental duties, and um, as we have seen here, it's a nearly threatened bird, and the main reasons for their population reduction is due to hunting, disturbance of their breeding grounds, and drainage, and the conversion of the foraging lands into agriculture fields. And this black-headed ibis also comes under Schedule 4 of the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. So we must protect these birds, as we should know about these birds first to protect them. And the next one is red-naped ibis. It's least concern according to IUCN, but every bird is important. We should protect every bird, whether they are threatened or vulnerable or normally least concern. So this red-naped ibis, the scientific name is Pseudoibis papillosa, and they are also called Indian black ibis or black ibis. This also belongs to the family Thresciornithidae, and the author who described this bird is Temminck in 1824. They are distributed in Indian subcontinent, including Pakistan, India, Nepal, Bangladesh, and Myanmar. And this is a large black bird with long legs and long down curled bill, and the wing feathers and the tail are black with blue-green gloss, um, and the neck and the body are brown in color without any glossy appearance. And you can also see a white patch on the shoulder that stands out, and the top of the featherless head is bright red in color. It's um, the skin is warty in texture, and This warty textured red colored skin on the top of the head of this bird can be seen in only adult birds, and their iris is orange red, and both sexes are identical, but young birds are browner and they don't have any patch on the head, so they can be easily distinguished. Um, During the breeding season, the bills and legs that are normally gray turn to reddish in color, and they are also very silent birds, but they call at dawn and dusk, and more often during nesting. Normally, we confuse this bird with glossy ibis, that's another species from when we see them from a distance. But the glossy ibis is smaller, and they are normally found in wetland areas, grasslands, and they don't have a white patch on the shoulder, and this red patch, which is seen in red-naped ibis, that's not present on glossy ibis. And the habitat is generally grasslands, meadows, marshes, riverlands, irrigated farmlands, and they are normally active at uh, night, but they are diurnal species. The feeding habit is they feed on frogs, fish, worms, insects, small reptiles, as well as grains. So they are omnivores. And they normally forage on dry, open lands, exposed, freshly tilled lands, so they can eat on the disturbed insects. And the breeding season is from March to October, and these birds are generally seen in pair. They mate for life and always walk about in pairs. So uh, this birds normally uh, depicts our culture. The nesting habit, they build nests on trees, and normally they build nests individually. And during the pair bonding, the female begs food from the males at the foraging grounds to show the males their um, acceptance for breeding. And they lay eggs about 2 to 4 in number, which are pale bluish green in color, and very little fleckled, and pale reddish blotches are also present on the eggs. Both male and female incubate the eggs, and this one is glossy ibis. They are also of least concern. The scientific name is Plegades fascinalis, and they also belong to the family Thresciornithidae. And Linnaeus described this bird in 1766. It is a migratory bird, and to which the Agreement on the Conservation of African Eurasian Migratory Water Bird uh, applies, AEWA. And what is the EWA? It is the independent international treaty developed under the United Nations Environment Programme (UNEP) Convention on Migratory Species to conserve the bird species migrating between European and African nations. So this is a very important bird. It is widely distributed in Europe, Asia, Africa, Australia, and America, and it is a medium-sized bird. And during breeding, the adults have reddish brown bodies with shiny bottle green wings, and the non-breeding juveniles have like slightly duller body color, and they have brownish bill, dark facial skin, bordered above and below in blue-gray during non-breeding time, and cobalt blue during breeding, and red-brown legs. And their habitat is normally shallow lakes, swamps, lagoons, ponds, rivers, and rice fields. They feed on fish, amphibians, lizards, small snakes, insects, mollusks, and crustaceans. Their breeding season is from April to June, and they nest normally on trees on a platform of twigs, and they lay about 3 to 4 eggs, and they are incubated by both male and female birds. Thank you.